Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
I am.
Fantastic. How are you guys?
Hey, awesome. Thank you for hopping on with us today.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you. There's Christy. And can you, oh yeah, can you plug it in for me? It's so dark in here. Michigan is so dark this time of the year.
I
You look
know.
so good, Mark.
Thank you.
Where are you located?
Up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
So you, well, that's not natural light either than on your face. What is it?
No. I've learned from you, Gogo. I've got a ring light. I've got different modes here. I got to get my little bit more of a tan going here. Hold on.
I love it. Clearly, I skipped on my teaching today because the lighting is not so good. So let me fix it. Just give me 1 second.
And
Sammy, where are you?
But it's only from this side. I'm in San Diego.
Oh, I love San Diego. Where in
Little
San Diego do you live?
I live in downtown, right by Petco Park.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Now, my dog is in the background. Is that going to be an issue?
No.
Oh no, that's cool. He's just chilling there, huh?
He's chilling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where my Charlie girl is. See, she's somewhere upstairs. Okay, so Mark, tell me about you.
Tell me about, oh yeah. Well, I've been licensed in real estate 5.5 years and joined EXP 2.5 years ago. And I'm married. I have 2 daughters and 2 stepdaughters. My daughters are 25 and 22. And my stepdaughters are 20 and 19. And I have a couple of dogs, one of which is behind me there.
Oh, that's awesome. What kind of dog?
So he is, Obi is a pit bull Staffordshire Terrier cross. Yeah.
Those are lovers. I used to be afraid of pit bulls, but my best friend, they always get a pit bull, like a pit bull mix. And oh my gosh, like her pit bull is on my face. Like we lay down on the couch and she's like in my body.
Yeah.
She tries to get in my body. My dog is a bulldog and she is not a cuddler.
Oh, okay.
You sit down on the couch and she bolts. I'm like, oh, you little. But so when did you become our student?
You know what? Was it a couple months ago? And to me, what I've learned in the last year and a bit here through COVID is learning how to scale, learning what I do best and what I don't do best. And although I'm, for 52, I'm pretty tech savvy. I also know that to really scale at the level that I want to get to, I need to have people that are experts doing things for me that I'm not an expert at. I'm still trying to do that in my real estate business. I'm a little too involved in my day-to-day, but that's okay. We'll get that figured out this year. And yeah, so it's been a couple of months, I think, and Jonathan's been awesome down in Brazil. Actually, my mortgage broker partner is married to a Brazilian and knows Portuguese, so his accent's very familiar to me. So. Oh,
that's awesome. So you right away, I know that you decided to do the Done With You program.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that tells me you're a high DNI. Have you ever taken a DISC assessment?
I've not done the DISC assessment. I have done other versions of that, I guess I would say. I tend to, I think, be more of a driver in business, although I'm very relationship based. So I'm an amiable, and I'm also analytical. So if you kind of go based on that personality styles, so that's kind of where I would land. But I've learned how to be more of a driver in my business. And again, just realizing to scale, you gotta pass off stuff that you the $25 an hour jobs or even $50 an hour, right? So when I calculated my commission per hour this year, it was a lot more than that, which is good. So
yeah, can I ask you, what is your hourly rate when you calculated it?
This past year was 175.
Yeah, that's pretty much what made me realize, right? I was on a phone call, on a coaching call, and I'm a woman. Like I can multitask, right? Like I can run a load of laundry and talk to my real estate coach on a phone call. And she goes, "Wow, that's a very expensive load of laundry." And I was like, what does she mean, right? And she goes, "Well, if you would have hired out, how much would you pay?" And I said, "I would pay, $20, $15-20 is our local rate." And then she goes, "Okay, well, you're right now running a $900 load of laundry."
Yeah.
right? So that's how I learned of like, but I also have the same mentality of like, I can do anything. Like I can learn that. How hard can it be, right?
Yeah.
But is that the time best spent? That doesn't mean that you couldn't do the job. It's just you're not the best person to do that job.
100%. I could have figured it all out. And I have to say, you know, and I mean, God bless those people that are doing they're on their own version of your course in the Facebook group, but they're always asking questions, right? And I'm thinking, so you're penny wise and pound poor. So you're spending all this time trying to figure all that stuff out. And I can't remember what the price difference was, but I've had it, you know, what is it, 2, 3, 4 calls with Jonathan, maybe half an hour max. And I'm virtually set up. I mean, my content cards is pretty much ready to go. Outside of recording some videos, which you guys saw and provided some feedback on, which was great. But you have to, if you want to get to a certain place in your business, you just got to realize it's just not worth your time. And that's no slight on anyone that does the work behind the scenes. It's just, that's not what we're best at as realtors in my view. So
yeah, I think everyone should take a look at their business and see, okay, where do I make the most amount of money? And what do I enjoy doing, right? Because usually, at least I hope it aligns for most people, right? Because what I'm really good at is where I make my most amount of money. So I'm one of those lucky individuals, and I don't work a day in my life because I get to do what I love, right? So I'm hoping that everybody else is going through the same life experiences, that whatever they're really good at is where they make the most amount of money. So I would want them to do that. But I think most people don't stop and realize, hold on a minute. If I go and sell another house, my average commission is $7,500. I could be paying a couple $1,000s here to have it all set up for me. I don't freaking have to do anything. I'll do it all for me. And I can go and sell one house. What I can see is going to take you much longer. If you try to do all of your systems yourself, it's going to take you weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. How many houses could you sell in, let's say if it takes you 6 weeks, how many houses could you sell in 6 weeks?
Well, my transactions this year was 42. And
there's what, 52 weeks in a year?
Yeah.
That's pretty much like almost, I would say what, probably 3 weeks a month. 3 deals a month.
Yeah, exactly. 3.5 deals a month.
Yeah.
And my GCI was 350. So,
if you did 6 weeks and we did 3.5, that would probably be about 5 deals. What's your average commission?
8,300.
83. I love that you know your numbers, by the way, Mark. That's a breath of fresh air. That's $41,500 that you made.
Yeah.
That spending your time on systems and setting everything up, right? I would do the same thing. I learned. It took me years though.
Yeah. Well, you've got it figured out now because you guys have a pretty slick oiled machine running there.
That's awesome. So I guess, did you go through all the videos? Let me ask you that.
I'm almost done. One question I do have is, and Sammy, you were talking there. So the whole section on ads, I don't know in Canada if I can run ads. I see people running ads. I was at EXPCon, as Sammy knows. I talked to agents in LA and they're running ads. So I don't know in Canada if I can run ads. I think I have to be, if I can, it has to be very specific, like here's the opportunity, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so I don't know Canada rules, but I can tell you in the US, and of course the best thing is just to go and ask your broker. But in Michigan or in the US, we can only run ads if we have a local team, and you can only do agent attraction to that local team. You couldn't do it with ads to your organization. So that's in the US, but of course your best bet is just to go to your broker and find out, I truly don't know what the Canada rules are. And everybody watching this, we actually have quite a few students, a lot of students who are not EXP, right? So they have, well, we don't, they actually get to run ads. If the brokerage allows them to. So that's why we have that whole section in there, because if you can't do it, it's a great way of doing agent attraction. We can't. So even though I have a local team, I am not hiring onto my local team. So I never run ads for agent attraction purposes.
Right.
As you see, it's for the Bootcamp, which is called agent attraction. It confuses a lot of people, right? And they're like, well, she's running ads for agent attraction. I'm like, it's for the Bootcamp. It is not for, it is not for you joining my team, right? But it is confusing to most. So I guess, what did you like the most in the course?
I think for me, I loved when you started talking about reverse engineering, because I've made calls as an EXP agent. when I first joined, I love your term EXP'd all over people. And I did that. And I'm like, oh, if I just would have known then what I know now. But yeah, so reverse engineering, literally attracting people to you. And I feel like I have a story to tell, just like you have your story to tell. And so reverse engineering is huge. And then all the detail that goes into that, everything from the onboarding, the retention, things like that. I mean, I have to say, I love my sponsors and they're great and they do stay in touch, but I do know of agents at EXP, unfortunately, that haven't literally heard from their sponsor since they joined 2.5 years ago. And that's unacceptable to me. So, I mean, to me, I was actually I only have 3 right now. I'll never be this small again. But even with those agents, I do weekly calls with them right now. Eventually, I won't have time. I'm going to do the monthly calls that you do. Yeah. But that was huge to me. Like, do you have a huge organization and you're still staying in touch with your FLAs, your FLQAs every month? That's the way it should be. Like, I think, and that was it was something I'd always felt, but to see you as big as you are, to still be doing that with your agents was huge for me. And then again, all the details. Yeah.
Right. That requires systems because there's only one of me. I tell my agents all the time, there's 700 of them. If they all just send me as much as 1 text message a day, right? That's 700 text messages. I would lose my mind. So that's why we have to have the websites and the systems and the YouTube channels and the trainings and the weekly trainings and everything, these group setting, right? And we build the website for them. So if they ever could possibly need anything from my Google Drive, like, hey, Gogo, where do I find this? Hey, Gogo, how do I find an agent in Kentucky? Hey, Gogo, how do I'll just send them back to website, right? Everything you could possibly need is on the team website. And that's why systems are so important, because if you build this and you don't have your systems, it is going to fall apart. There's only one of you and there's only 24 hours in the day. So that's why, and I'm so excited that you started so early on, because that means you have the time right now to build it, right? It would be much harder when you already have 500. You're like, where do I start? How do I get everybody's birthdays? Right? So now starting it and building it right and asking the right questions ahead of time. Now you're building the system so you can celebrate them. So then they feel loved and they feel appreciated and acknowledged, right? Because that's the one thing with EXP, and I can't talk for other brokerages because most are localized, right? But ours just kind of spreads all over the world. We need that. We need to take those extra steps at our brokerage so then everybody can feel the love.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's huge. And, people need to feel appreciated, and everyone's different personality type wise. We kind of started with that, but it kind of comes right back to that. Like, what is their love language almost, is it words of affirmation? Is it whatever it is? Right. So I think, but absolutely at a bare minimum, they need to be celebrated for sure.
Because what gets celebrated gets duplicated.
Yeah. Exactly.
When you celebrate their production, they produce more. When you celebrate their agent attraction, they attract more. When you celebrate their icon, the icon again, right? So I just love, that drives me, right? So everybody gives love the way they want it received, right? So that's my natural love language, but I know I try to adapt to everybody else's to kind of meet them what they need, right? Some people need to hear. Some people need to get a gift. Some people need to be in your physical presence and get a hug, right? So it just depends. So I love that. I love that you signed up for the Done For You or Done With You program. So what do you have to say about that? I know you said that you love Jonathan, but a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, so I think, you have, it's all there for you step by step. You're going to, if you don't know anything about agent attraction, if you know lots about agent attraction, but haven't had success at it, like I would say I would not have had success at it, it kind of rewires your brain. And I believe a lot about that, about rewiring my brain, rewiring my state of mind with regards to agent attraction, being of value to people. But, going back to the process, every step is covered in the whole process to make you believe and adopt this mindset that I can do this, right? I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can go with your process that's been so successful for you, and just be of value to people and know all the way down the line, okay, what do I do when they icon? What do I do when they cap? Well, all those different things, whether it's celebrating them or being in connection with them. And then all the back end systems that are so valuable. because we have a great onboarding team in Canada, but to have that extra step where I know things are going to be taken care of because I have a system that's set in place that when they, click partner with Mark, they go to the pink sheet and they fill out those forms. And then I get a text message and, there's nothing ever lost in the whole process. And that has been huge to me because I love the process that you have laid out. And I think it's going to be very, very valuable for me and my family for the rest of my life. So.
Yay, that's awesome. The pink sheet came about is because you don't know, right? You're going to be talking to an agent, and most agents, I would say probably 95% of them are not going to pull the trigger right there and then, right? And then 6 months later, they're ready and you don't even know they applied because you don't have the pink sheet. Right. So that's why the pink sheet came in place, because I don't want agent get lost. The onboarding process is not a one-step push the button, you're an EXP agent, right? Or you belong to this brokerage now.
Yeah.
So I needed to know when they are ready to pull that trigger so then we can hold their hand through the whole process. So if they get stuck somewhere, they have us, right? So we can guide them through right to the finish line. Because if not, they get frustrated and they're like, well, if it's this hard, then I'm just going to stay where I'm at. Right. Yeah. So that's how the whole thing came. But I love that you know the steps and you understand. That's why I ask you if you watch the videos, because it's one thing to push the easy button, right? To hire, have Jonathan set up all of your systems. But if you don't know what those systems are for and how to use it and why to use it and when and how to apply it and take the link and, make a post about it today, here's how people can click it, right? Then it's not going to work. You have to work in order for the system to work, right? You have to still take those steps. So you have to watch the videos, but sounds like you did it.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I can't remember exactly where I am in the process. I haven't done any this week, but I have it blocked in my calendar every day for agent attraction training. And I've been following that very closely. So yeah, that's been great. And yeah, I feel like if I'm going to spend the money on something, I want to know what I'm spending my money on, very detailed wise, and then also know the process, because I want to know what that agent's going to go through when they click my link, when they they fill out the pink sheet, all those different things. I want to know exactly what's going to happen so that I'm on the ready to be of service to them, be of value to them. And again, why should they join my group here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, versus somebody else's group? Because that is going on in EXP. Sponsor shopping is huge right now. So I need to have a very slick and well-oiled machine that's going to, show them that I'm ready to be their sponsor.
That's awesome.
100%. And if I can add something in here, when they start to see that you have these systems set up from the onboarding, the attraction, the retention, so on and so forth, that's something that's going to be very, very valuable to all the agents in your organization, especially when you're talking to your generals or people that want to go out and start attracting more agents. When they see that you have that in place, then that's going to be very, very attractive to them, because they can learn from it. And even some of the systems they may be able to use, like your whole team hub, that's something that they could give to their downlines as well to help them get dialed in and get dialed into all the resources that you have to offer. So I think that's really cool. The question I did have is, you went through the videos, you almost have everything set up with Jonathan. As far as kind of like time commitment, what would you say is like a realistic, time commitment that an agent would need to kind of set aside each day or each week to kind of go through everything and get it done? Right.
Well, a couple of things, and it's a great question. I think that if you're going to pay for something, whatever you commit to, whether you pay for it or not, commit to it. Whether it's an hour a day or 10 hours a day or whatever. But point being is that I set aside an hour a day for agent attraction training, and I've been doing that over the last few weeks. And then plus the calls with Jonathan. You're maybe looking at, 20 hours total over a couple of months, or 6 weeks, or whatever the case may be when I first signed up. So it's not a huge time commitment when you think about what's the end goal. Well, I want to attract agents. Well, why do you want to attract agents? I want another revenue stream. And that helps me out for my future and my retirement and for my kids' future and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a huge time commitment, but you have to commit to it. You have to set time aside. Don't say, I'm going to do it when I have time. No, literally time block it, put it in your calendar and make that commitment. Because I think that was my issue in the past is I would say, okay, I'm going to do agent attraction Friday afternoons like Brent Gove. Well, something came up and I just never did it, right? Or did it very, very little. And I'm still going to do some of that. But the nice thing is I have this other system that's reverse engineered to attract agents to me. But yeah, I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
that gives a good layout of the land, right? But I love that question, Sammy, because your ways have to be duplicatable. Because when you're building a team or organization, right, they have to be able to have the same things that you build. There's no reason for them to reinvent the wheel, right? So having all of the systems in place now, you can show them exactly how to do it. Say, push this button here. The card's going to build your site like this. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Even if they can become our students and do the done with you program or so. But if not, you already have some knowledge, right? So now you can take and teach your group. And that's what I do here, right? So anything that I do, I try to make it duplicatable for everybody so then they can have that success, because that's why people join with you, right? Whatever they join with you because they look up to you, they have respect for you in the industry. So then now it's your responsibility to teach them what's in between your 7 inches, right? The knowledge. And so if your ways are duplicatable, you got it figured out. Now, I do have a little bit of a kind of a surprise. We finally figured out a new thing that we're going to add to the program. So I'm going to share with you really quick. So there's 700 of us now in the Team Gogo organization, and it's keep getting to the point where I'm like, who do we have in Kentucky? Oh my gosh, we have this $750,000 lead. Who do we have in Kentucky, right? Who do we have in this area of North Carolina? Who do we have in San Diego area? Who do we have in? And you're like, eventually, if you do this right, it's going to get to a point where you won't be able to remember who's where. So we add we finally, Christy, figured it out like a couple of weeks ago. We have now a Team Gogo map. So it's an active map. As soon as they're joining, they get a little pin on the map. So if anybody needs to know where is a Team Gogo agent, they just go to teamgogo.team/map, and they get to see exactly where our agents are. So I'm going to do a video on that. And then Chris is going to do another video of how to create that map. So then you can have that for yourself and set it up automatic. So then people can just show up on that map. So then, because the same thing in Team Gogo, we refer to one another before we would refer outside, right? So we only refer to outsiders if we don't have anyone in the Team Gogo organization. Because if you partner with me, I want to feed your family.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I'm assuming you would do the same with your team. So we are going to add that into the course here shortly, so then you can have that team map added onto yours, so then you know where your agents are. So when you have a referral, you know exactly who to send it to. Their name, email address, phone number automatically pulls up as well.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, so we add that on. Do you have any suggestions for the program that you feel like it may have not been there or wasn't explained good enough?
No, I think I don't really. Yeah, there wasn't a time where I felt like through the videos or through the calls with Jonathan that I didn't understand something. I mean, there's a lot of videos, right? And there's no way to get around that, I don't think. Because if you're really going to do this right, you got to know what you're doing. And no, I mean, and I'm not trying to be glad handing or anything like that. I just, there's nothing that kind of strikes me as, I mean, sometimes I feel like some of the content could have been looped into one big video as opposed to the shorter videos, but that's just,
yeah,
that's a little
I did it that way because my concern was everything that I know, it comes natural, right? I know I learned it somewhere along the line. But the thing is, I don't know what you don't know. So if I start talking here and you don't understand all this that takes you here. So that's why I was like, okay, if I didn't know anything and I'm literally explaining it from the ground up, then I need to start here to go here, to go here, to go here. And I felt like if I break it into small little sectional videos, right, instead of one big one, then if you start listening to it, you're like, oh, I got that one, then you can just skip it, go to the next video, right? And be like, oh, I got that one too. So then you skip it and go to, so like, oh, okay, this one I have to listen to because this I don't get. So that's why I broke it into smaller, because initially in the, we also have another bootcamp, the social media bootcamp. And initially that one, I talk on my level, right? So I talk of what I understand, not realizing, I started getting questions like, but yeah, I get it, but how do I hold the camera? I was like, oh, we have to go to the basics.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you live and learn. So in this one, I really try to start from, I call it your agent attraction house, right? We build it one brick at a time, but if you skip a brick, it might fall apart.
Yeah, no, and that's totally fair. Yeah, yeah. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many schools in EXP about agent attraction, and I wanted to have this reverse engineering. Did you at the beginning, or do you now even reach out to agents on the phone that you might know or have talked to in the past? If you've talked to them in the past, as an example for me, where I have EXP'd on them, what would your reach out be, if at all, or would you just let that happen organically?
So there were two agents, I'll be brutally honest with you, right?
Yeah.
Since you asked. So there were two agents that are local here. So prior to EXP, let's just put it that way, everyone was my competition. So I didn't really go to local events and mingle because I was like, why do I need to know you? The only reason I need to know you is to have a good relationship. So if you're on the other end of the deal, we can get to the closing table, right? But other than that, I wasn't looking for a new best friend in real estate, okay? But through the years, I befriended these two agents and they're local to me. So they are the only two. Then I don't think I've ever called them even. We probably run into each other in a coffee shop or something. But we ended up having the EXP conversation. By the way, neither one came over, right? I'm like, seriously? I have hundreds and hundreds of them from the other end of the world. They're plugging stuff into my calendar. I'm changing lives over here and you won't even listen to me, right?
Yeah, I know.
But it took me, and so through the years, now we are talking 3 years, right? Because I talked to them pretty much right after I switched over. I literally didn't have proof in the pudding. I just had the concept. This is why I switched to EXP, right? Let me tell you why I switched, but I didn't have the numbers to back it up with. Now, fast forward 3 years, it's a different conversation. So now I can reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I know I tried 3 years ago, and the way I look at it, I look up to you. I truly enjoyed when we got to work together on 123 Main Street. Like you are an agent that I would want to associate myself with. And that's why I reached out to 2 years ago. And I know I EXP'd all over you because I was so excited, right? But can we please have another conversation? Now 2 years went by, right? And now I have totally different numbers. I have a totally different mindset. I have a totally different appreciation for this company. Would you give me 15 minutes of your time so I can show you what it's like today?
Yeah, that's great. I like that.
That's what I would do, right? Because right now it's a different conversation. I exceed all over them, right? Because I was so freaking excited about this. Right. And now it's different because now I can open up my book of business and show you this is what it means. This is what the last 3 years did in my life. What did the last 3 years do in yours?
Yeah.
I bet you my numbers beat yours. Just taking a wild guess.
Well, and I have that story to tell because I made Icon this year. And
congratulations. In case if somebody's watching needs to know what an icon is, an icon, well, he's kind of a big deal, right? In the company, but he's also a big deal nationwide and internationally. Less than 7% of the agents do the amount of production that gives their cap back. So congratulations, Mark, you earn your cap back.
I know, it's amazing. Awesome. And as a Canadian, I have a $16,000 Canadian dollar cap, and I got paid US dollars 16,000 in stock. So that works out pretty well. That works out pretty well.
Well, congratulations! Yeah. I'm so excited for you. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
So that is years after capping. That's very, in your own anniversary year. That's amazing.
Yeah. And and I got my little sticky note here, and then there's my cap year is starts August 1st, and that is my
14 to icon.
Yeah.
Love it. So this is the kind of things that you can be posting about, right? Like how many brokerages do you know in Canada that will give an agent their cap back? None. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there's this new brokerage. I don't know if they're in Michigan yet. They're across some of the states. They're now in our province in Canada called Real. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the other one I know.
Yeah, me too. But here's the thing, you're doing them a favor and you would change their life if they had the same opportunity that you have.
That's right.
All you need to do is show them the opportunity. They don't even know what they're missing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark, I have to go. We have a 12:30 and it's 12:30. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited for your success. Please let me know as you are implementing, that's the word I'm looking for, as you're implementing everything and your systems are up and running and you're starting to do the whole agent attraction thing and taking it to the next level. I want to see your success, right? So if you don't mind, would you please share it with us?
Absolutely. Will do. It was great chatting with you guys live and in person.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time so much. Thank you.
Have a great day, guys. Don't get sunburnt in San Diego, Sammy.
I know, rubbing it in, right? Bye.
Bye, guys.